Good morning, Enid. It's good to see you again. It is Thursday, March 1st, and kind of cold outside at 34 degrees. There is such a gorgeous full moon in the west. Run outside right now, take a look at the west, and hopefully you'll see that full moon. Thank you for joining us. Grab a cup of coffee. Join us for the next 30 minutes as we have news, weather, and sports, and all local Enid guests, special guests with us this morning. This is Good Morning, Enid, and it is time to rise and shine.
Good morning, Enid. Thanks for joining us again today on March 1st. I can't believe it's already March. This year has gone by so quickly. It's currently 34 degrees out, so it's a little bit chilly this morning, but it's supposed to get up to 58 degrees, so it'll be much warmer later today. Can't believe it's March and 58 degrees out, but range of 30 to 58. There's a little bit of wind, 20 to 30 miles an hour out of the north, but
A little bit?
just, well, in Oklahoma, that's only a little bit
that's
of
right.
wind.
Just a slight breeze at 20 miles per hour.
But not
Sorry,
bad.
Aaron, I just want a little bit. So.
That's funny how our interpretations of weather is so different.
Yeah, it always feels like
I would
it's
say, like,
20
it's
to 30
freezing
miles.
at 58.
And being the California girl, you're freezing, right?
Right. As you've heard from Aaron, the temperatures for today, well, this weekend sort of looks a little bit similar. It's going to be actually a little bit higher on the 60s this weekend. It is going to be a bit windy on Saturday and Sunday. But overall, I think Friday may be the nicest with some sun out.
Still wasn't bad. The end of February, you know, February typically in Oklahoma is icy, it's cold, it's frigid, and we can't wait for March to get here. Well, let's look at some of the statewide temps, just in case you're planning a trip across the state, business trip or whatever. But if you go all the way down to Davis, Oklahoma, South I-35 on your way to Dallas, you can see that it's 50 degrees this morning. Rather warm down there. Can you believe it's 50 compared to our 34 degrees? And up the big city of Morrison to the east of us, home of the Wildcats, is 43 degrees this morning. Red Oak in the southeast part of the state at 50 degrees. So that's what it looks like. And of course, you saw the Panhandle. It's like it's a different country. It's always 10 or 20 degrees colder. Is what was it? Hardesty, was that 20 degrees out there? 26. So anyway, that's the statewide forecast. And here we are on a Thursday, March 1, and school is still in session. That means
Food.
It
It looks like today we're having breaded chicken legs, mixed veggies, baked okra. What is WD? Whole grain? Is that what it was?
That's it. Way to
Whole
go,
grain
Aaron.
hot rolls, diced pears, and milk. So not too bad.
I don't know if I would like breaded chicken, but
You just completed the
chicken
grade
leg.
school menu. Congratulations.
For Friday, we have chili dog and cheese, sun chips, fresh carrots, green beans, Dr. Seuss fruit cup. So not just a regular fruit cup.
That's right.
And some milk.
Only the best. Only the best. Wow. Very good. Well, again, thank you for joining us for show number 159 here on Good Morning Enid. We'd like to remind you, besides airing on Channel 12 and in high definition on 112, that we are live streaming around the globe. We want to say hi to our friends in Germany, Japan, and just different places that watch us live streaming at enidtv.org. It's 7:34, holding steady at 34 degrees. And to find out the latest news and sports overnight, we turn to one guy, and that's Derek Silas, the bow tie guy, and he has the Oklahoma Minute.
The Oklahoma Corporation Commission and the Oklahoma Geological Survey has developed a new seismicity protocol for oil and gas operators in certain parts of the state to help prevent earthquakes. And the Enid Fire Department will host its first Citizen Fire Academy beginning March the 27th, with an 11-week program designed to increase understanding of fire and emergency medical operations. Applications are on the website at enid.org/fireacademy. And this is just a reminder that the basketball courts at Dunn Haskins will be closed starting today as Oklahoma City Thunder Cares Foundation begins refurbishing efforts. Speaking of basketball, last night the Thunder took on Dallas with the score in Oklahoma City's favor, 111 to 110. They will play Phoenix tomorrow at 8 p.m. in Arizona. Here's a fun fact. Everyone knows that Oklahoma is where the winds come sweeping down the plain. But did you know that the first tornado warning was issued also in Oklahoma on March 25th, 1948? On this day in history in 1781, the Articles of Confederation are ratified after 16 months of debate. This was before the 1789 implementation of the U.S. Constitution. And that's the Oklahoma Minute.
Was that Derek singing our state song? When the wind comes sweeping down the plain. Da, 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 da. Okay.
Very good, Derek. Thank you for all that information. You're always so great. We just want to take a moment to thank you all for joining us this morning, as well as remind you that if there's anything you would like to share, any pictures, comments, questions, suggestions for this show, please email us at gme@enid.org. We actually have some photos to share with you today.
I think we have
Here
several.
is Bella. Yes, we do. Here's Bella, and I believe this is your grandson's puppy.
Owen Absher has a new member to the family, a little girl named Bella, and a black Labrador arrived on his doorstep last week. So, isn't Bella cute?
Very, very cute,
I
actually.
think all black lab puppies are cute. So.
So cute. And then we have, there we go.
The World Traveler.
Yes, World Traveler, also known as our bow tie guy. He was out in Kauai, I believe last weekend. So here is a picture of Derek saying aloha.
Yeah, I can see the lighthouse behind him. That thing's been there for forever.
Yes, yes. We also have Derek Silas Jr. was, I believe, Student of the Month. And this is a picture of him and his dad, Derek Silas, being recognized for his accomplishment this month. Pretty amazing. Congrats to you too, Derek.
Very nice.
Very, very good. Must be proud. Also, if you guys are looking for any big plans for this weekend, since we're going to have some amazing weather, here is Erin with what's happening.
Thanks, Sarah. There's actually some pretty great fundraisers going on, but before I get to that, the long-awaited Enid Author Fest is this Saturday at the Enid Public Library from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's over 40 authors that will be attending this, and they will be showcasing their work. They're all local authors, and they'll be signing books. They'll be giving one-on-one time with people who would like to talk to them about their books. So if you're interested in finding a new author, it's going to be nice out, so you need to get a book to read outside. So go there and see some great authors, and the list of authors are on the Enid Public Library's website. And then also on Saturday, a really great fundraiser will be there. A Casino Royale Youth and Family Services Gala will be in Independence Tower on Saturday from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. It is a fundraising event for Youth and Family Services Nights of Shelter, which this is an organization that helps disadvantaged youth. They help provide shelter, counseling, family therapy, and they've put over 26,000 safe shelters for children to be in. And this, it's a little bit expensive. There's $75 tickets, but it's for a great cause. It costs $30 to put a kid in the house for one night, so it's definitely worth it. And then there's also Festival of Flavor, which is definitely something that I'd be interested in. It is this Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Prairie View Elementary. It's $20 all you can eat, so that's definitely a great price for all you can eat food. Enid Rotary Club will be there, and it's a fundraiser to raise money for Enid High School graduation and Rotary project. They have over a dozen of Enid's finest eateries will be attending, giving samples, and you can try all different kinds of foods. And they've already raised tens of thousands of dollars since their start in 2010 for different kinds of school projects. And that's what's happening.
Very good. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, Enid. It's 7:39, holding steady at 34 degrees. And if you're planning your day, high today around 58 degrees, not bad for the 1st of March, and then the low around 30. However, wind's going to be really sweeping down the plains, as Derek said, from the north today, around 20, 30 miles per hour. We have a very special guest in the studio this morning, and we'll introduce that guest to you right after this. Welcome back. Good morning, Enid at 740. Again, holding steady at 34 degrees. We appreciate Dane, AJ, and Penn for their work behind the scenes on Good Morning, Enid. And you saw those that video piece that we had just a moment ago with all the ice. A week ago today, it was kind of icy in the Enid community. We want to welcome to the Enid Television Network studios and to Good Morning, Enid, Paul Johnson. Paul is the general manager of Williams Broadcasting. Good morning, Paul.
Thank you,
welcome.
Steve.
Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
You're this radio guy, and here you're doing some television.
Yeah.
So,
Returning the favor.
I guess so. I guess so. Well, we're glad that you're with us. So thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
And get ready for 20 questions, and Sarah's going to start.
Okay.
Well, welcome to Good Morning, Enid.
Thank you, Sarah.
Paul, it's really nice to have you here. I know that it's probably taken a lot of hard work to get here to this show this morning.
Right.
So why don't you share a little bit about your background with broadcasting and how you got here?
I'm a radio brat. My dad was the general manager of a small town radio station in northwestern Ohio, where I grew up. So that kind of got my foot in the door a little bit. Went to college in northeastern Ohio at Kent State. I majored in broadcasting, radio and television. And I thought radio was easier. Television was a little too complicated. So that's why I went into the radio side of it. But then, spent years just as an announcer, first of all, and then a program director in charge of all the music and the programming on radio stations. From there, went into operations, which, would be involved with programming multiple radio stations. And then I got into general management, but really was able to move around to some beautiful parts of the country, upper Minnesota, Colorado, and then for the last 15 years in Virginia before coming here to Enid.
Before I ask you about your role or what a general manager actually does, I know firsthand when you get into broadcasting, you have all these different opportunities to do just a variety of things, to open a new car dealership and things of this nature. But I understand that you used to be the public announcer, address announcer at the Air Force Academy.
I did.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, for a couple of seasons. I mean, I love football, college football, and I understand a lot of people around here like their college football too. Colors of the teams may be a little different, but I do love college football. So I lived in Colorado Springs for about 7 years. And for about 5 of those years, pushed really hard to the Air Force Academy to be their public address announcer at their football stadium. Well, they had a guy who they were perfectly happy with and was doing a terrific job, but he ended up moving. So I auditioned in an empty stadium with about 3 people sitting on the other side of the stadium listening and taking notes to me and about 5 other people who were auditioning. And was lucky enough to get the job. So, and in fact, the second season that I did it, the first team they played was Oklahoma, fresh off their national championship year with Bob Stoops. It wasn't a good outcome for the Academy, but it was sure exciting to be able to announce the defending national champions.
Very good. Well, talk about excitement. Tell us about your daily role as general manager at Williams Broadcasting.
Well, I mean, as general manager, you oversee the whole operation, and radio really has 3 distinct. There's programming. There's Alan Klepper, who's on the air. There's the music. There's the news, the weather, all of the information that a good radio station gets out about the community. So that's the programming side of it. Then you have the technical side of it, because it is complicated. The transmitters, the broadcast equipment, processing, microphones, all of that. And then there's the business side, which includes sales. And that's the most important thing. A radio station, the only way a radio station earns money is by selling advertisement. I've had people over the years say, oh, your stations play a lot of commercials. Well, that's how we keep our doors open. So, solving the advertising needs of clients is kind of our mantra, and we can help them do that, but it also keeps our doors open as well. So the general manager oversees all 3 of those aspects of the radio station, and the great thing about here at Williams Broadcasting is I get to be more hands-on. When I was in Richmond, I had a full-time staff of about 35 people. And here I have a full-time staff of about 8 people, which requires the general manager to roll up their sleeves and be involved, be in the, many of the day-to-day tasks. I've done all of that during the course of my career, and it's refreshing to get back into that, where I can have a more active role rather than to just, be in the big office and tell people what to do. I like to be more active.
Very good.
I think it's important how you mentioned about advertising through, commercials on the radio. Just it shows the importance of, you know, the radio as using it as communication. So can you tell us a little bit of how radio is relevant in today's communication industry?
Well, I mean, it's up to each individual radio station. You know, radio has gone through a lot of challenges over the years. You know, radio, when TV first came up, everybody thought, well, who's going to listen to the radio anymore when you can watch? And so radio had to reinvent itself at that point. And then in the 60s, 70s, when you could install a cassette player or an 8-track player in a car, people thought, well, if I can bring my own music into the car, who's going to listen to the radio? And so radio had to reinvent itself again. And now, you know, with the ability to get information, the ability to get music on your telephone, you know? I mean, you don't need a radio station to do that. So every individual radio station has to determine what they're going to do to remain important. And the situation that I walked in here in Enid with Williams Broadcasting is astounding, because with the community involvement, the heritage in the community, these radio stations are still very important to its town, and they've earned that. I mean, you don't get that by just sitting around and turning on your transmitter every day. You have to earn it. And the way these people are involved in the community, the way they have helped advertisers before, it has made radio still important. So again, it doesn't, just because you have a radio station doesn't mean you're going to be important to your town. You have to earn it, and you have to work for it. And the people here at Williams Broadcasting have done a fabulous job at that.
Good morning, Enid. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday, March 1st. Again, Holden State around 34 degrees, and again, working our way up to a pleasant 58 degrees. Our very special guest this morning is Paul Johnson. Paul's sharing what his life is all about at Williams Broadcasting. Paul, if you talked about the commercial aspect of selling spots or selling advertising for income to really keep the station afloat. But if a nonprofit has an event coming up, Make-A-Wish Foundation, I mean, the list goes on.
Sure.
There is a role in radio and even television to help that nonprofit get their message out. So if somebody is watching this morning and they're part of a nonprofit organization, they go, you know, we've got a fundraiser event coming up, we need to reach out to Paul. How would they do that, and how can you help a nonprofit?
Well, I mean, we can, and it's part of our responsibility. The FCC, Federal Communication, every time a radio station renews its license, they have to prove to the FCC that they broadcast in the public interest. Meaning, you know, are you doing things to further the public good of the community that you serve? So not only do we want to do that, we're required to do that. So as far as how somebody would get involved, I mean, they could certainly contact me. My email address is pretty simple. It's p.johnson@kofm.com. Or any of the individuals at the radio station. Certainly Alan Klepper is somebody that has been involved in nonprofit organizations and civic organizations long before, you know, I've been to Enid. And again, he's part of the fabric of the city. You know, it's one of those things where we can't do everything. We can't do everything for everybody, but we're going to try. We're going to do our best. We just went through the last month of having probably 20 plus either 4-H or FFA organizations from all across Northwest Oklahoma come in and visit and spend quality time with Alan to talk about, you know, each of these individual kids. And it's so important to them and so important to the parents. We're involved in a lot of great activities. You know, full hands-on involved, like you had mentioned, Make-A-Wish. We do a great Make-A-Wish fundraiser in September every year. And that's, you know, the radio station puts that event on. And then from smaller things where we just help others who do the hard work promote their events. But always willing and always, you know, willing to consider and to do what we can to help any of those organizations.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Paul. I know that if there's somebody out there right now watching us that would one day inspire to be in broadcasting, do you have any tips or any educational advice that you can give this person to one day reach that dream?
Well, I mean, there are different aspects of broadcasting. You know, there's in front of the camera, there's behind the camera. The behind the camera stuff is technical, and I've always been amazed at the engineering staff of a radio station or a television station. The wizardry of electronics is fascinating to me. Now, I'm not very good at it, but it does fascinate me. So if, you know, there are those opportunities that are obviously there. As far as in front of the camera, I mean, I realized that I might be good at this when it dawned on me that in speech class in college, I was pretty good at it and I actually enjoyed it. Other students were deathly afraid of standing up there in front of the classroom giving a speech. I mean, they would not sleep for 2 nights beforehand, and I realized I was fairly comfortable at that. So it's understanding that if you have that skill, or if you have that you know, kind of personality trait where you don't mind talking in front of people, that's a great start. And then you can be trained along the way. And most, you know, colleges, even a lot of community colleges, will have broadcast programs. Larger colleges will have them as well, both radio and television. And now you get into the whole, you know, internet and digital products. Content, great, cool, relevant content is being produced in a lot of different areas and ways, things that I didn't dream of 30 years ago when I first got in the radio business. That's opening up a lot of doors. So there's a lot of great opportunities there for people who do have that creative bug that they want to fulfill.
We certainly appreciate, the City of Enid appreciates the relationship with Williams Broadcasting for the past 4+ years. Every Wednesday, I've had the opportunity to go to their studio, and we discuss for about an hour on both KOFM and also KGWA, the AM station, AM side of things, city government news. And so we have about an hour that we just kind of do bits and pieces and update the community on city government news. And so we appreciate that relationship with Williams Broadcasting.
So do we, Steve.
Very good. We'll have more with our special guest, Paul Johnson, in just a moment, but it's 7:52 and the half hour gets away from us. In case you missed the news a little bit earlier this morning, let's go with Derek in the Oklahoma Minute here, excuse me, at 7:53.
Well, thank you, Steve. The Oklahoma Corporation Commission and the Oklahoma Geological Survey has developed a new seismicity protocol for oil and gas operators in certain parts of the state to prevent earthquakes. And the Enid Fire Department will host its first Citizen Fire Academy beginning March 27th with an 11-week curriculum. Applications are on the website at enid.org/Fire Academy. Reminder, today, the basketball courts at Dunn Haskins Park will be closed as Oklahoma City Thunder Cares Foundation begins refurbishing efforts. Speaking of basketball, last night, Oklahoma City gets a win over Dallas, 111-110 in overtime. And they will play the Phoenix Suns tomorrow in Arizona. Here's a fun fact. The first tornado warning was issued in Oklahoma on March 25th in 1948. And on this date in history, in 1781, the Articles of Confederation are ratified after 16 months of debate. This was before the 1789 implementation of the U.S. Constitution. And that's the Oklahoma Minute.
Just a walk-in encyclopedia.
That's Derek Salas for you. And in case you seen Bella earlier this morning in the show, made you want to rush out and get a puppy, we want to make sure we take the time to share with you the puppy of the week this morning with Charlotte.
Good morning. Today we have Pet 9. This is Lucky. He is a Heeler Dalmatian mix. Oh, he's just a little guy, about 3 months old, and he's looking for a new home. You see, he's really excited, and he needs somebody to give him a lot of love and attention. So come by and give Lucky and Pet 9 a new home.
Charlotte Ringwald does a great job for us here in the city of Enid in animal control, and that puppy dog's got some energy.
Yeah.
So if you have some small kids at home, get rid of some of that energy, adopt that. Paul Johnson is our special guest today from Williams Broadcasting here at 7:55 on Good Morning Enid.
One more question for you, Paul, this morning.
Okay.
What is the role of AM radio, and what does KGWA have to offer?
Well, I mean, the way it's evolved is AM radio has not exclusively, but for the most part, evolved to talk formats. And it can be anything from news, political views, opinions, sports. That's what most AM radio stations do. Occasionally, you'll still find music stations along the dial. You know, as far as KGWA goes, we have a mix. You know, we have Alan Klepper in the morning who devotes, you know, 3 hours to almost exclusive Enid information or Northwest Oklahoma information with, you know, guests like Steve, you know, Curtis Tucker from Enid Buzz, Kevin from the CNB Center. You know, these are people that come in almost every week and talk about, you know, activities that they have going on. And then after that, we get into, you know, some syndicated national programming, which is, you know, events talks, current events talks. Brian Kilmeade, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity. You know, very passionate, you know, and, political viewpoints, and but we think pretty reflective of the, you know, the area that we serve. We do a lot of local sports on KGWA with Enid High School football and basketball and some other sports as well. So that's kind of the way that it's evolved with AM, is to do a lot of talk programming. And, you know, KGWA kind of has the best of both worlds with the national syndicated great voices, nationally known voices, and then with local, with Alan in the morning and Jay Curtis Huckleberry in the afternoon, who kind of does the drive home. To let everybody know, you know, about the weather and traffic and news information for the drive home.
Well, Paul, our time is up.
That did go quick, Steve.
Yeah, and you know, in radio, keep moving.
Yes,
keep
that's
moving.
right.
So, well, thank you for being with us on Good Morning Enid, and we hope you'll come back. And we appreciate the work that KGWA and also KOFM does for us here in the Enid community. So, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Sarah.
It's 7:58 this morning, and we'd like to remind you that at 8 o'clock, Oklahomans in Space. That's the interview that I had the opportunity to visit with Bill Moore. 8 individuals from Oklahoma have been in space, and he talks about the Oklahomans in space. It's a great visit with Bill Moore, and that, again, that comes up at 8 o'clock. I want to remind you, City Commission meeting comes up next Tuesday, March 5th. I believe it's the 5th, but it's 6th, excuse me, March 6th. City Council meeting, study session gets underway at 5 o'clock, and then City Council at 6:30. Again, you can see that on Channel 12 and 112 or on enidtv.org. And Sarah, I think we have a siren test, is that right? Tornado sirens starting next Monday?
That's correct, and I believe it'll be every Monday at noon, weather permitting.
That's where I got the March 5th. I knew there was a 5th in there somewhere. So again, a lot of things that are happening, and of course you can see that on the television, all these important dates. Well, it's time to go. Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Thank you. Paul, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate Derek. And we appreciate you joining us on Good Morning Enid. It's 7:59. We're working our way to a very pleasant 58 degrees on this March 1. Make it a great day. Thanks, everyone.